Alright, we are back in GameMaker looking at part 2 of our Space Invaders. So right now we're going to be adding the part where we are looking at making our main character and getting his basic movements down. Okay. Now since the last time I did go back and add a third planet, I played around a little bit with some of the speeds so that the planets scroll at slightly different speeds. They're not all just going in lockstep with the background. I also rescaled one of the planets just to make it a little bit bigger. You'll see that when I run it, but you can play around with that on your own. Okay, so what we want to do now is take our main character and give him some motion. So let's go back and create our main object. Okay, now for this guy we need to give him some control. So we're going to allow our character to move up, down, left, and right. And so we're going to give ourselves up, down, left, and right. Okay. We'll also eventually add a space for shooting, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay, so now when we hit the left key, what do we want to do? Well, we want him to jump positions. Okay, so now if I think about it, my axis runs left and right. That would be my x-axis. And we said that the top left corner is our 0, 0 position. So if all the way to the left is 0, anytime I want to move to the left, I want to get closer to 0, so I'm essentially moving negative. So let's go with a -4 there. Now I want to make sure it's relative. So having it relative will allow me to just take, instead of jumping to -4, it'll actually just give me -4 off of my current position. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing for right. I'm going to say jump to position, and it's going to be positive x relative, +4. Okay, and then up, when we do up, we are again going to be now moving to the y-axis. Our y-axis is running up and down, and again the top is 0, so as I move closer to the top I'm losing some value on my y, so I'm going to subtract 4 and make that relative. And then down, same idea, jump to position, +4 relative. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my room and I'm going to add my character into it and go with that. So let's go test that out, see how we do. Alright, so I can move up, down, left, right. But you know what? I can scroll off the screen. I really don't want to be able to scroll off the screen. So I need to do something to stop that. So let's go back to our main character. Now what I want to do is essentially take a look. Before I say you can jump to the left or to the right or up or down, I do want to check to make sure you're not going to run off the screen. So that's going to go back to my variable right here. So I'm going to check variable. And what I want to do is I want to check the different ones. So this is my left. So for my left, I want to check to see if I'm all the way off to the left side of the screen. And so that is going to be my X position. And I'm going to say, only allow me to move if my value is larger than 0. That'll essentially allow me to stop at the edge of the screen. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of buffer. I'm going to say I don't want to move just to all the way to the left, so I'm going to say value larger than 10. Okay? And so if the x value is larger than 10, then I can jump to my -4. Let's go check that out and see how that works. Okay, so now I go over, and you can see I stop right there. I can't go any further. So we're going to do the same idea for my other ones now. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to check my variable. I'm going to say variable x, and now here I'm going to say room width -10. Okay, and that's essentially going to give me take the room width and subtract 10. However, since I'm measuring this from the left-hand corner, I actually want to subtract my the width of my character, which right now is 32. So I'm going to subtract 32 as well. For up's going to be a little bit different. I actually don't want him to be able to go all the way up to the top of the screen. And so to avoid that, I'm going to check my Y, but now I'm going to say I'm going to only allow him to go halfway up my screen. So I'm going to do room height divided by 2. And here I need to go and say only allow me to jump if my Y is larger than that value. And I need to actually go back over now to my right because I forgot to put that in. So here, room width, I'm only going to allow me to do that if I am smaller than. Okay. And now finally my down, I'm only going to allow myself to go down if my Y value is smaller than my room height, and we'll say let's go minus the 32 for the size of my character and minus another 10. Okay, that should do it. Let's go check that out. All right, so now I go over there, I stop on the edge, I go down, I stop a little bit above. If I go over to the right, I stop just to the left, and then I did not stop at the top. Let's take a quick look there. Okay, let's take a look at our main object. If I go look at my up, oh, and here's the problem. So I have my if statement below, it has to actually be above it there. And that should hopefully fix it. Let's go check it out again. Alright, there we go. And now I'm stopping at the top and I can't go any higher. So now that gives me my bounds, and this is really all I need for this guy. Let's take a look back at our project. So the next thing we're going to do in the next video is develop our shooting mechanism, and we're going to look at creating our meteorite and how we can destroy one. We're not going to do the final touches with it, but we're going to create it and look at how that happens in the next video. Thanks.